Welcome to Shooting Straight with Brad and David. I'm David Klaus, your Navajo County Sheriff, and Brad couldn't join us this month. But I have a couple of guests that are very familiar with the show. You've been with us before many a time, and I think hosted a couple times.
Yep.
So we have Brian Swanee, the Chief Deputy, and we have Bruce Tucker, the Deputy Chief over Patrol Operations or our law enforcement.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Well, thanks for having us.
Appreciate it.
This month, we're going to talk a little bit. It's the end of the year, beginning of a new year. We wanted to kind of talk. Traditionally, we look back at the Sheriff's Office, public safety as a whole throughout the county, and discuss what went well, what didn't go so good, and kind of what we're going to do going forward. So
sounds good.
It was a busy year.
It's been a very busy year.
I don't think that in law enforcement, no one's ever said it wasn't a busy year, right?
Right. Yeah, it's one business that is never slow.
That's right. So something that I first wanted to talk about was that's important to me, something I ran on as or campaigned for as sheriff, and his big priority is technology. Sometimes people may ask, what does technology have to do with law enforcement?
There's a lot to do with it, yeah.
Especially today.
Yeah, especially today. There's so many things, but I'm talking not only just gadgets and new technology of software, but also becoming more efficient and streamlining things. So what are some things that we were able to work on this last year around technology?
So probably one of the I'll let Bruce talk about some of the software stuff, that the patrol has implemented, but on a big picture, a lot of it has been our radio technology, getting a very old, antiquated radio system infrastructure. We're talking mountaintops, mountain or communication towers is what I'm trying to say. Getting those things up to date with modern technology, updating the old equipment. And it's not just Navajo County. Most places are like this. The state is like that, where they built this infrastructure in the 60s. And we've just been making it work for many years. We hired on a full-time radio tech to just go through and update, change connectors, update new coax, just stuff like that where we don't have any outages. Adding new communication towers around the county to improve our communication abilities. For a long time, we had very limited communications outside of a populated area. We're now putting more remote towers in for search and rescue, and the fire and rescue and EMS can tap into those towers as well and have better communications. And then over on the technology and software side, there's been all kinds of stuff being done.
Yeah, sure. We've made some great advancements. Everyone's carrying cell phones today. And one of the things that we were able to do was move to text to 911, which has been very successful. It's been already utilized by our dispatchers. And what that means basically is a citizen can actually use the text mechanism, or if they're unable to speak, they're deaf, they can still communicate and call for help, which is a huge advancement using technology.
And we had a pretty cool press release we put out on that a few weeks ago or months ago. Remember, we had someone going down the interstate.
It was in need. Yes,
Yeah.
they were in the midst of basically a domestic violence issue, and it worked very, very well.
And the neat part about that, we were able to do the location.
Right.
Because with the text to 911, we get that location much quicker.
Correct.
Than say a traditional landline or something like that. And we were able to locate them. I think they were westbound on 40.
Yes.
Passing through our county and started texting, which rang into our dispatch, and they were able to geolocate that phone. And between some state troopers and the deputies that were on duty up in the north part of the county, they were able to get that vehicle stopped and properly address that issue.
Yeah. So we also did a big purchase for body cameras.
We did. And that's going to be a great advancement for us. We were one of the first to have body cameras, at least in our area, which was a very fortunate thing for us. But as time progresses, technology improves, we needed to improve to a new system.
Yeah, our current system, we're storing this on disks and taking up space on servers and
external hard drives.
It's very cumbersome. Where this new system is, it's going to be cloud-based, where we can store all of all of our digital media, our video media is all stored somewhere and it stays safe. Right now we're putting them in envelopes and that stuff deteriorates.
We've had them for over 10 years with the Sheriff's Office, which, like you said, was one of the leads in this report in the state, really. But now the laws, the legislature's passing record retention laws and body cam redaction laws and body cam release of video laws, and our old system was just kind of recording it and
storing it.
Yeah, click and drag over onto your desktop. Now they're going to be time-stamped. They're going to be CAD per officer, per deputy, and
very easy accessible.
And in addition to that, it'll have the redaction features for the privacy of the citizens who aren't involved in a matter going on.
Yeah.
So that's a great thing.
So currently we're not able to redact and stuff like that.
Not as well as we'd like. It's very cumbersome to redact.
Yeah, and we expect those to be
That should be rolling out here
any day.
Any day, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's actually
over at the jail, on the jail side of the sheriff's office, at the end of 2020, right at the end of 2020, we were purchasing, in the process of purchasing, a very high-tech body scanner, and that thing was installed and put into service right at the beginning of 2021, and it's very fancy outfit. But you put all inmates get on this thing. It's a little treadmill thing that runs through, very similar to like a TSA, and you hold your hands up and you go through, and it'll do a full body scan to find any contraband that's trying to be snuck into the jail, which is a constant challenge for our jail staff, is keeping contraband out. And since the implementation of that, the contraband getting into the jail has reduced greatly. So that was an expensive gadget, but very, very worthwhile.
Yeah, like you said, the fentanyl and the pills that are coming in. It made me nervous when we had a couple of those being snuck in, and I said, what's one more level of, we search them, we pat them down, we dress them out, and they were still able to. And so we're like, we're going to do a body scanner.
Right. It's a great feature for safety of our staff and the inmates.
Right. Yeah.
So one last thing before we move on from technology, we've talked about some efficiencies. Not only, these are some investigative tools we've talked about, some security tools, some communication. School safety, the Sheriff's Office was awarded it's not a grant, but a one-time funding from the legislature this last year. And I know, Bruce, you've worked on some school safety with
Absolutely.
technology.
So one of the things we did in the past year was we've initiated a school resource officer with the Sheriff's Office. The Holbrook Police Department asked for our assistance along with the Holbrook Unified School District. Fortunately, we're very well staffed. We've got a good staff here of deputies. We selected a deputy for the position, and it's done very well. But as part of that, in our school security program with the funding from the state, we're entering into an agreement with a company called Mutual Link that will provide additional safety features, not only through cameras and panic buttons or alarms that will ring directly to us. We work very closely with the Holbrook Police Department, so it'll improve our response not only in Holbrook, but we're working on implementing that throughout the county.
Yeah, we're still in the process of it. I know you've spent a lot of time working with different vendors, but this is really going to help, I think, with response times and communication, especially in whether it's a fire or whether it's
any emergency.
It doesn't have to be a tragic incident. It could be something, just a medical issue, where we're going to be able to intercede very quickly.
Their facilities are so big, and somebody dials 911. Where does the first responders go? Is it in the gym? Is it up in the administrative office? All that information is going to be just right there, handy for our dispatchers. They'll in real time see what's going on and direct the resources to the exact location.
I think that's, for our viewers, that's the kind of what the takeaway from this is. The school's security system and the school's communication systems are directly going to be linked to our dispatch center.
They're meshed in.
Yes,
There's not going to be any delays or any talk-arounds. It's going to be straight there.
We won't have to go through administration. It's just going to be hit the button and go straight to our dispatchers.
Where it's the first place it really needs to be.
Right.
They hold all the keys. Let's kind of switch gears a little bit, talk about some of the enforcement over this past year. I know we talk a lot about our drug enforcement team, we talk about our criminal investigations team. You mentioned some of our staff that have done a phenomenal job. Very well staffed in all those areas right now. What are some of the enforcement things or successes in the last year that?
Well, on the criminal investigations and Mcat side, I'll speak on criminal investigations first. We increased their staff by 1 detective last year.
And that's big. I mean, 1 for us.
It seems small, but
true.
if you consider 3 to 4, that splits up, 25% additionally to
Right.
another detective. That's a huge gain.
And I don't have the exact numbers, Sheriff, right on the tip of my tongue, but the cases that have been assumed by criminal investigations have greatly increased, which is the same as what our calls for service and patrol has increased. Everything has increased, the workload. And so putting that detective in there really helps share that workload to have better, more efficient investigations and getting done faster.
I think we're also specializing a little more too.
We are.
I know the sergeant's working on having people specifically assigned
Right.
to certain types of crimes versus doing so they're a little more specialized and they
Right.
can focus more on those areas because we have that increase in staff. Mcat, drug interdiction.
Mcat is a phenomenal group of men that have come from other agencies to include us as well. They come from we've got participants from Sholo and from Winslow have assigned detectives over to the Navajo County Major Crimes Apprehension Team, which is a multi-agency task force, and they target drug crimes and any major crimes, trying to on the proactive side, trying to suppress that crime. This year, or in 2021, that team made in excess of 120 arrests, and most of those, like 95% of those, are high-level felony cases. Investigations, a lot of investigation took place prior to them being arrested, rather than just stopping somebody from arresting them for a warrant. These were full-on investigations. They've seized over 200 pounds of methamphetamine this year that was either traveling to or through our county, and over 650,000 fentanyl pills, which is just absolutely incredible. And those are passing through or destined for our county.
I remember 2 years ago we had 20 or 30,000 pills,
Right.
and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
We had some big pops there. Now we're at, blowing those numbers away,
it's
which
just
is not
incredible.
nothing to be proud of, but it's something that it's obviously a danger to our community to say, this is a real threat that we're seeing.
If you think of the lives that were saved by the interdiction of those pills, I think it's pretty tremendous.
Every single one of those pills had the potential to be an overdose for somebody either in our county or across the nation.
So you bring that up, overdoses. We're seeing in 2021, I think we responded, our deputies, I know, we gave a lot of life-saving awards to a lot of our personnel, and our jail staff was responding to. Is it on the rise, or?
I certainly believe it is. Every deputy has Narcan, every detention deputy has Narcan. It's just the world we're unfortunately living in today due to the addiction that's out there, and hopefully we can work on that. But from our end, the best we can do is at least be preemptive. When we respond, we find someone who is suffering from an overdose, we can at least immediately intercede, try to reduce that impact, hopefully save their life, and it has been successful this year.
Yeah. A lot of people wonder why you need Narcan in the jail if we got the scanner and we've got all this other stuff. What happens is the deputies or the officers bring them in. They may have hidden that opioid drug on them, and they've taken it in the car or something like that. So most of our Narcan deployments are right in booking or in the Sally Port when they arrive.
Yeah, we've had quite a few right there as they're getting them out of the car, they're noticing they're pretty lethargic. And
even one of our deputies was impacted by it.
Right, during an operation, the ambient air inside this small apartment overpowered one of our detectives, and we had to deploy Narcan on him, which is extremely scary.
So something that helps us with our interdiction is our canines. It's always been a citizen or a county favorite was watching our canine program. We were able to increase that this year.
So I'm sure everybody is aware of Zoltan. Zoltan is a very popular dog. He's on Facebook quite a bit. but we've increased by 2. We've got another canine that's going to be that's up and running right now up in the north part of the county, but he'll travel all around the county.
Yeah.
That dog's name is
Kilo.
Kilo, that's right. So Kilo will be attached with Deputy Ostertag up in the north part of the counny. And then we picked up a retired dog.
I really like this one here.
From the Department of Public Safety, and they were updating getting some new dogs in, and they retired this dog, and we made contact with the handler, because the dog went to the handler and was going to be his pet, and the handler says, this dog is not ready for the couch. He's not ready for retirement. So very grateful for that handler. He allowed us to take possession of Sane is his name, and very, very friendly social dog, but a very, very good patrol dog and drug dog. And that dog's going to be assigned to our jail. So we're going to have an extra layer of protection inside that jail with the scanner, and now a dog that's going to be on patrol throughout that
perimeter
jail.
And inside. Yeah.
Right.
So I was really proud of
exciting.
that work there.
Mm-hmm.
Took some partnerships and networking across the state. We were able to get that dog at no cost, but now we have that in the jail for the first time since I've been at the sheriff's office. The first time as sheriff that we have a canine, and hope to grow that program. So we're running out of time. We just have a couple seconds here. This year coming up, they go fast. What are we gonna work on this coming up?
So we're going to one thing we didn't talk about here today is our processes of our mental health care for the inmates that come in and out of the jail. That has been a priority of the sheriff's office from the day I started. That was something that you came to me and said, this is a priority for me to help these people as they come in and get them prepared to enter the real world again in society. And we have made huge strides working with our local vendors through Change Point and Community Bridges, our own health department within the county. We just recently have brought in a full-time psychiatric doctor to our facility. This is being provided through our new contract medical, where we're going to have 24 hours a day access to a true medical professional, mental medical professional for our jail, and that's huge. Before we had a program, but it wasn't local. You don't get that face-to-face interaction. Now we do.
It's good for the inmates. It's good
absolutely.
for those that are transitioning back into society, which hopefully we don't see them again. That's our goal. We haven't let up on our enforcement, but it's also good for our employees too, because they're trained for security, and they're trained for the care, custody, and control. They're not trained in mental health, nor do we want to push them that way. So
Bruce has been working on that on our employee side.
And you brought up employees. The employees encounter a lot of very tragic events. It's difficult when they go home and they see their child and they just dealt with someone else's terrible tragedy. I think part of that is enhancing our peer support teams. Yeah. And we're going to do that not only just for our office, we're going to make that available for all law enforcement. Regional. We're going to work with fire and create regional teams along with critical incident stress management. We're really working toward protecting and supporting our staff also.
Right. Yeah, I appreciate the work you've put in on that.
Thank you.
I think we were both sitting at home 1 month, and we were both thinking about that a lot. We both came in and we're like, hey, we need to make this, and you had been thinking about it, I had been thinking about it. And
we made it a priority, and it's getting done. Along with working with our chaplains, we're fortunate to have a lot of great volunteers, not only with the SAVs, but also chaplains who will be right there with us.
Yeah. Right. Well, we just kind of scratched the surface, but we're all out of time. It was another successful year at the Sheriff's Office.
Thank you, Sheriff.
I appreciate you, both of you, and all the employees. You know, we're over 150 strong, and we provide so many great. They've provided so much great work across the county, and I couldn't be more proud to be part of this organization and to lead that and to have you guys
appreciate it.
Part of
thank
that
you,
team.
Sheriff.
Thank you.
That's all the time we have, so join us next month and stay tuned for this month's Most Wanted.
Chantel Lee Joy has a valid and confirmed felony warrant for possession of a dangerous drug. Chantel Lee Joy's last known address was Sholo, Arizona. If you have any information on the whereabouts of Chantel, please call Navajo County Communications Center at 524-4050. Or to remain anonymous, please call WeTip at 1-800-78-CRIME.